Yay!
Yay!
Welcome,
Oh,
welcome, y'all, to another fantabulous episode of Real Women, Real Talk. I am your amazing host, Shavon Carter. I am a Real Women facilitator, and I am joined by who?
hey, Trenace Richardson. I am the founder of Real Women and so happy to be with y'all again.
Yes. So, y'all, we have something amazing lined up. And if this is your first time tuning in, we're going to tell you more about who we are towards the end of the episode. But just know you are in for a treat. We are an amazing organization. And hopefully, by the time you get to the end of this, you will want to learn more about us. But for right now, if you want to just check us out, visit us at www.realwomenrock.org for more information.
Mhm.
All right, sister, are you ready to just go and jump into our real talk segment?
I am. I'm ready for that. Mhm.
Okay. So first of all, let me just ask you, how are you doing today?
Oh my goodness. Um I am busy in the best way.
Hmm.
Um I am committing I have recommitted to my sorority. And so shout out to my sorority sisters of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
Oh.
And so just really getting active there again. And then last night I went to an NAACP meeting
Okay.
because I am committing to doing my part
Mhm.
in this season that we are in of elections
Mhm.
and just taking that seriously. So I feel focused in a good way that's adding a couple of things to my plate, but and we're ramping up things with Real Women and the intensive and doing our facilitator training in the month of September. So a lot going on, but I'm feeling good about it and I don't feel overwhelmed.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is amazing that you can be doing all those things and not feel overwhelmed.
Let me tell you why. Because
Woo!
I am literally just taking one day at a time.
Okay.
What I plan my weeks out. I get asked this all the time. I
Hmm.
plan my weeks out on a Sunday for the entire
Okay.
week. Of
Hmm.
course, if I schedule something, it's on calendar, so I get to see what is going on for that week, both
Hmm.
in my personal, professional life. And then I take it one day at a time and I make adjustments as needed. So if I can't do something one week
Hmm.
that I thought I could do, I apologize and move forward from there.
Hmm.
But I've decided that the that I want the depth of a few things and not the broad shallow of a lot of things.
Okay.
And
That makes sense.
so really figuring out each aspect of my life. So spiritually, what do I want to prioritize? Emotionally, what do I want to prioritize? Professionally, like I'm just really taking a big rock in my life and focusing there in some way, shape, or form in a deep way. I'm telling you, this 50 thing is doing something to me. So I'm
Love
feeling good
it.
about it. Yeah, I'm feeling good.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So I'm
I'm
focused in a
so
good
glad
way.
to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have a method to how you do things that works for you. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mm.
far, so good.
Okay.
I'm but fingers crossed, prayers going up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm willing to pivot whenever I need
Hmm.
to pivot. So
Yeah. I
so
will
far
say
so
that
good.
about you. You absolutely do pivot when you need to, and unapologetically. It's like, look, I started out one way, and it's like, as I assess things, then I need to shift and I need to pivot, and I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
I use my throat, my throat chakra to talk. Just, I gotta
Yes,
speak up on behalf of myself. So
I know that's right. I
how are
know.
you, sister?
So I am tired today. I really
Mhm,
am.
mhm.
I didn't sleep well last night, and so that throws things off for me because I have to get up early on these days to go into the office earlier, and so my sleep pattern was just thrown off last night for some reason. And yeah, so I'm tired, but I'm
Yeah.
good at the same time.
I
Yeah.
get it.
Mm.
Also, that's another thing that has, helped me. Girl, I am going to
You're
bed. You
going to
hear me?
bed.
I am
Yeah.
going to bed. If I
Yeah.
have a 7 o'clock something and it's done by 9, my clothes
Mhm.
are off and I'm in the bed by 9:20, 9:30.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm really
Mhm.
taking my sleep very seriously. So that's helping. Yeah.
Mhm. That
Not
definitely is important. Yeah. And
yeah,
usually I get to bed, pretty early. But last night, I don't know, I was just a little tossy turny, but it's
yeah.
all good. I'm gonna get in that bed tonight though. I tell you that.
Hey.
Be
Rest
great.
is good for you. Yeah, you can
Yes,
make it
it
up. Do
is.
you have to go in tomorrow?
No, so
Okay,
that's
good.
the beautiful thing. So I don't have to get
Yeah,
up as early. So I love these days that I can sleep in a little longer so that I can, I don't have to rush and get into the office. So that is great.
good. Good, good, good.
Mhm. All
Mhm.
right. So before we go into our deep dive, I do have another real talk question for you.
Okay.
And just a feel good moment for us to just
Mhm.
really pause and think about something that we want to celebrate. So, my question to you is, what's something that you did recently that you are proud of yourself for?
Ah. Okay, so if you've been watching these episodes, Imma not stay here for a long time, but the
Mhm.
way I've been celebrating my 50th child, I am proud
Yeah.
of me. I am
Yeah.
I have I have prioritized me this year, and my birthday is not done because there are still 4 more months in the year. So
Yeah. I know that's right. Celebrate the whole year of 50.
yes, yes, I'm celebrating 50 all year.
Mhm.
So that, but also I have prioritized my self-care to the point
Mm.
where I am benefiting from it. I feel better. I fit my clothes better.
Mhm.
My hair was coming out because I just wasn't getting rest, and my
Okay.
hair is growing again.
Nice.
So I've prioritized me, and in the process, I believe that others have benefited from it as well because I've been getting like promotions on my job and
Come
raises,
on. Yes.
and I have been able to focus longer. Like all of the I'll just give one example. The Real Women website, child.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to listen. You said proud, so I can speak. I
Yes.
can just brag about myself.
Absolutely can.
All me, girl. All me.
Come on.
I was our webmaster
Let's
this go
go.
wrong,
Yes.
and
Yes.
it's nothing magical or 2.0 about it. It's a website, but I'm just
Mhm.
so proud that I was able to do it because that is not my gifting.
Yeah.
So I've been able to take care of me, and as a result, I've been able to give more and be more present for the things and the
Mm.
people I care about most.
That is beautiful. Well, yay.
Mhm.
Celebrating with you
Yay!
on all
Yay!
those
Thank
amazing
you.
things.
Oh, that felt good to clap for myself.
Yes.
What about you?
Oh my goodness. So let me tell you how I just recently had a therapy session, and I went into that session. I was like, you know what? I am going to take this whole session to pause and celebrate me because I don't do that enough. When I accomplish something, I just like, oh, okay, that was great. Yay. And then I go on to the next thing. But I
Mhm.
really wanted to take a moment, and I am proud of myself because I passed the counselor preparation comprehensive exam, which is a huge deal at my university. Yes. And we actually have two comp exams, and I passed both of them. And so I just passed last week the second one. So that those two are requirements for graduation. So I'm just really proud of myself because that is major.
Double for your trouble, two of them, two
For
of them.
my trouble because I've seen so many people on the Facebook pages for our university just talking about the challenges with the exam, and they only give you three tries, to take it. And some people have just they're on their second try and they haven't passed it. So I just don't take it lightly that I took it for the first time and I passed it. Like that is huge and major, and that means I only have 6 credits before I graduate, which is Amazing. So 2 more semesters and I am out of there in May. So
Let me tell you something. So I will not review again the whole journey
uh-huh.
in that way,
Mhm.
but I just love that I have watched you over the last few months kind of pull back on some things that
Yeah.
you would normally do. Like you said, I'm
Mhm.
not going to travel as much. I'm going to do what's absolutely necessary. And
Mhm.
there have been times when we've been like, so you coming? You going out? You done? No, I'm going to stay
No.
home and study. I got to. So it has paid off.
It paid
Congratulations,
off.
sister. Clap
Thank
for
you.
yourself.
Yeah. I am
I
on my
love
way,
it.
and that is a big deal, and I'm really proud of myself for that.
Yeah, you should
Yeah.
be. You should be. So happy for you.
Thank you.
That felt good.
It did, right? So
Mhm.
y'all, if you're watching and listening and or listening to this podcast, we want you to think about something that you can celebrate yourself for. So, and we want to hear about it. So visit us at speakpipe.com/real women, real talk, or you can shoot us an email at info@realwomenrock.org and tell us what you're proud of yourself for. Just really think about something that has happened recently that you can just celebrate yourself for. Because a lot of times, like I said, we just do something great and then we move on to the next thing without really acknowledging what we've done. And so let's
Mhm.
just take a moment to celebrate ourselves, pat ourselves on the back and clap. It's fine. It's okay. You can be your biggest cheerleader. That is okay. You deserve it.
Mm. I love that. I love that. That felt good.
Hmm.
Mhm.
All right, sister. So we started off with some celebrating, but we're gonna go into the deep dive.
Oh
That's gonna
Lord.
get a little deep. That was like a little shallow water. That was great. But we're gonna go a little deeper into this because I shared this scenario and what I'm excited about. But there's another side to this that I want to talk about today
Okay.
in our deep dive. Are you ready?
I think so.
Okay. So
Mm.
today, y'all, for our deep dive segment, we are going to talk about the imposter syndrome.
Mhm.
Mhm,
Mhm.
mhm.
Mm, mm, mm.
Yep, we are going
Mhm.
there today. So, just to let you know what I'm talking about, if you're not aware of what the imposter syndrome is, let me enlighten you.
Mm,
So, imposter syndrome is a person who feels undeserving of their achievements and the high esteem in which they are generally held. The person may feel like they aren't competent or intelligent as others might think, and that soon enough, people will discover the truth about them. They
mhm,
are well accomplished and they may hold numerous academic degrees, but they haven't really embraced that they are amazing and that they are deserving of
mm.
those achievements. So
So
the main
we gon' this what we gonna do? We doing this
this
today.
is this is where we're going today.
Okay. Okay. All right.
This is where we're going, and let me just set it up to help y'all to understand why I want to talk about this. So I recently, and not even recently, I just noticed that I have an imposter syndrome. I really do, to be honest. And I am one of those people who we just talked about. I am a high achiever, accomplished a lot of things. And there's also a part of me that feels like I I'm not enough. Like
Mm,
I don't know enough. I didn't even for the exam that I talked about. I just felt like I didn't study enough. I didn't even think I was going to pass the exam, honestly.
mhm,
And it just makes me feel like if people find out
mhm,
I'm not this or I'm not as competent as it appears, then they're going to know that I'm an imposter. So that's the type of thought process and belief system, honestly, that I am working through and just learning how to embrace. So, and I'll get into ways how we can, overcome the imposter syndrome. But to be honest, I know that I wrestle with that. And before I ask you the question, sister, one of the things that I realized during my recent therapy session when we were talking about me celebrating the me passing the exam, I know, well, my therapist pointed out in my sharing how I was like, oh my God, it's amazing that I
mm,
passed. And I kept saying, oh my God, it's so amazing. It's so amazing. And he's like, it's amazing or you're amazing. He's like, you're putting it out there, like you're externalizing it as opposed to saying, I am amazing for
Mm,
that exam.
mhm,
And I had to stop as he said that because I didn't even notice it. It just came out
mm,
so freely. But I appreciated him pointing that out because I was, it was almost like something else happened for me to pass. Like it wasn't me. It was like, oh my God, God took the test for me and that's how I passed.
mhm.
So I was like, okay. So I in
Mhm.
that moment I had to continue to verbalize through that session. I am amazing. Like I
Yeah.
and then he helped me to verbalize like the sacrifices that I made, the studying that I did, how brilliant I am, how intelligent I am. Like we really had to go there during that session. And so that's why I wanted to talk about that today because
Mm,
I feel like I am not by myself.
mm, 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 mm.
So, sister, I will
Ooh,
start by asking you, have you ever experienced the imposter syndrome?
I don't wanna talk about this. No.
No.
No, thank you.
Oh my goodness. Yes, I get it.
Woo,
Mhm.
girl. Yes, an emphatic yes. And
Okay.
what's crazy is like 3 things came to mind.
Okay.
So I'm gonna wrap it up. But
Mhm.
the first thing that came to mind is because I have such a deep love and respect for music. I mean, I had to be coached by some of our real women sisters to stop just saying, I love music or I love songs or I to saying I am song because
Yeah.
that's how much music and song resonates with me.
Mhm.
Um, at the very same time, I do not feel by any stretch of the imagination that I am on anybody's level when it comes to singing.
Mm,
And so
mhm,
I never ever give myself any credit
mhm.
when it comes to singing. And I honestly have just been okay with that because I appreciate it so much. I love other people's artistry. And
Yeah.
so I love and I enjoy it. And so I'm always surprised when I get positive reactions to my
Mhm.
music. I am I am not as surprised when it doesn't go well or as
Okay.
well as I think it would. It's more
Mhm.
like I knew it. I told you so, like in the back
Yeah.
of my head.
Mhm.
And so when it does go well, it's like, oh my God, like when I got the way that my audition went for Voices of Fire, that's
Yeah.
on Netflix. I
Mhm.
was like, oh, I was blown away that they were blown away. It's just
Yeah.
so that's a real thing for me
Mhm.
when
Mhm.
it comes to music.
Yeah.
Um, Secondly, what came to mind was ministry wise, I just, and even professionally, I never assume somebody knows who I am
Okay.
ever.
Mhm.
When I walk into a space where maybe they should or could know who I am, I never
Mhm.
make that assumption.
Mhm.
And I'm always surprised if someone knows who I am, and if so, at what level they do.
Mhm.
And whenever I'm in a room with peers, people who are doing the types of things that I am, my humility makes me just almost physically kind of go in,
Yeah.
even if it's I and I will blame that on being quiet and observant,
Mhm.
but I'm probably um being modest to the point of shrinking a bit, you
Yeah.
know?
Mhm. That makes sense.
Um and so just in a professional space, whether for me it's education or ministry, I just never make any assumptions.
Mhm.
Um Those are the 2 that I'll use.
Okay.
So yeah, the answer is yes,
Yeah.
and I'm sure we're gonna talk through how we work through that, but to just
Mhm.
be very blunt and honest, yes, I
Yeah.
deal with it. Not just in the past, but
Mhm.
I still do self-talk to walk myself through it even now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I appreciate you sharing those 2 examples of where it shows up, and I hope that those who are watching and listening can understand that this is real, and we are being vulnerable in this moment and letting you know that we are journeying through this. Like, this is something that we are still dealing with, to this day, and even with, I didn't share this piece of it, with me being now in internship, and just even with the last few months that I have been actively a counselor in training and seeing clients, that imposter syndrome shows up there too, where I feel
Mhm.
like I'm not enough, I don't know enough, like I am not providing enough tools, or I am not using my skills enough. Just all of these thoughts come into my head, and that's something that I really had to work through this week, because I noticed that it was coming up for me. So when we talk about how do you overcome it, we'll get to that in a minute. But I'll just share some things that really helped me to work through when those thoughts surface. But before we go there, another question that I have for you, sister, is why do you think people, us,
Mhm.
who have the imposter syndrome, feel like frauds, even though there is an ample amount of evidence that shows the other side of it, like that points to our successes? Why do we
Ooh.
act like or feel like we're frauds?
Um, I don't know where I was what I was listening to recently, so I'm not going to be able to quote it well or give them credit, but just with a paraphrase, um, the first answer that came to mind is that I am a compilation, a composite of my upbringing and my childhood. I am both born and made, right? I
Mhm.
am
Yes,
I
yes.
am I am nature and nurture.
Mhm.
So so things that were, for lack of a better term, indoctrinated in
Mhm.
me, by both what was taught and what was caught, right?
Yes, yes.
Because it didn't necessarily have to be explicitly said,
Mhm.
but I watched, for example, all of the church people, including my mother, give all glory to God and none to you. And if anybody gave you a compliment, deflect,
Yeah.
with the deflect
Mhm.
bracelets, and,
Yeah.
not taking any compliments in. So it can't be you, it can't, any good that is of you can't be you. Just even that doctrine that I'm nothing but filthy rags. And
Mhm.
so, and even though I ask and invite the Holy Spirit in, that God really is out here, like you said earlier, working the miracles out here.
Yeah.
And I passed the test, you passed the test because of something that happened out here, not in here,
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
so I think it's what we've heard and what I've heard. I'm gonna make it personal. What I've heard and what I've seen that would cause me to buy into a thought, that would say I'm not worthy. And it's the grind of working toward, it's like the race of working toward worthiness,
Mhm.
that it feels like the marker is always moving.
Yeah.
So I think the other reason that we can feel like frauds is because we have these external things to see that would cause me not to be content with what I have and where I am, and to feel
Yeah.
fully confident in where I am is okay.
Mhm.
Nope, there's somewhere else you could be, baby. Look at them. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look over
Mhm.
there. And so, okay, my place must not be as valuable or okay, because there's a place over there that looks even better. Not
Yeah.
realizing that you don't know any of what's happening over there.
Mhm.
You just see what you see.
Yeah.
And so, um I I I do remember a podcast I heard this on. It's like they were talking about money and saying that some people are jealous of their coins, basically.
Mhm.
But they were like, "Don't count my money unless you count my bills," right? So
Mm, yeah.
if you don't count my money, count my bills. And so I
Mhm.
think we end up seeing people and what they look like they have, but we don't know what has come along with that. And the last thing I'll say is maybe because I'm fully aware of what has come along with my coins,
Yeah.
with my oil, with
Yeah.
my success, because I know the mistakes I've made, because I know the hard work that it took, because I know I just barely made it by the hair of my chinny chin, whatever that looks like for me, the work that was involved,
Mhm.
maybe that's also, it wasn't easy for me, and
Mhm.
because it wasn't easy for me, maybe it should have been easy. That all those shoulds, maybe it
Mhm.
should have been easier. So maybe I just made it in here by the hair of my chinny chin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 All the things, all the things.
Mhm. I
What do you
can
think?
definitely, I can agree with you, and just speaking for myself personally, because like you said, it's personalizing it because it's probably going to be a different answer depending upon who we ask. But for me personally, definitely my external environment, and like you said, just what I extracted, what I grabbed onto the actions of, let's say, my parents, namely my father. His absence, I would say, contributed, not to say he was fully to blame, but contributed to me feeling like I wasn't enough, or there was a piece of me that was insignificant, or that I had to work or prove or perform to get love or attention. And so I think that belief system was developed very early on, due to that. And it could be part of my personality also. Like I said, I
Mhm,
wouldn't just put it all on my father, but I cannot negate the importance of a father and the role that they
mhm,
have, in a child's life. And so the absence of that, there's this emptiness and void that I am left then to figure out why that exists. And
mhm,
so I think somewhere in there, I determined, or I concluded that I must not be enough. And
mm,
so I need to do a whole lot of things in order to be enough. And
mhm,
so that thought process with that parental relationship, it spilled over into other areas, like academically, always achieving because I felt like I needed to prove myself. I needed to perform. I needed to be good enough. And so
mm,
even though there's a pro to that, as far as just being driven and just really focused on academic achievement, that's great. And then there's this belief system that where I can't really embrace who I am,
yeah,
or the challenge with embracing who I am. So I think it definitely is formed for me in childhood, in development, things that I learned or I internalized, even if that wasn't the truth, my thoughts. I internalized it to be so, and then I that just carried on. So
mhm,
that's for me how I developed that fraudulent type mentality, as
yeah,
it relates to that. And so in the negative seems to be louder, that voice seems to be louder than the positives, like the successes. So many things that I can grab onto, but for some reason focusing on that one thing that I didn't do well, or that is just seems to be the data that my mind attaches
mm,
to. Like, see, this is the data that we're saying that you are an imposter, and so
mm,
it's just interesting how the mind does that. It's 10
mhm,
other things that I can focus on, but one little negative thing is like, oh, well, that's what I want to hold on to, because that confirms the deeper belief that I have,
yeah.
about myself.
But thank you for sharing yours. And I would, agree definitely. I think one of our episodes soon, and maybe when we invite some of our sister friends, one could be daddy issues, one could be mommy issues, because I'm
Mhm.
sure, there's a whole conversation we could have about that.
Yeah.
But you made me think about needing to acknowledge in this moment that this happens in my life. I'm sure it happens in yours. And
Mhm.
I know there's somebody listening because, we have people that we don't know who listen, but then
Mhm.
we have people in our lives who listen. And I am sure because I could, if I didn't know you well enough, I'd be surprised that you suffer from the imposter syndrome,
Yeah.
not you with all that you have going on. And
Right.
I've heard that same thing too. And so
Mhm.
I just wonder how many of us are looking around thinking not them, and
Mhm.
how many of us are actually them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Exactly. Right.
and you would be surprised what pedestals you put people on that they have not erected for themselves. Like,
Mhm.
literally, it's a hologram. You are
Yeah.
making it up in your head that they are
Yeah.
on that pedestal because they
Yes.
are not.
Absolutely. Mhm.
Yes, I just wanted to acknowledge that there's somebody listening or watching that might be like, whatever, y'all. But it
Yeah.
is real. It is real.
Mhm.
And if it's real for you, just
Mhm.
know, if it's real for you, it is real for someone else. And
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I know enough now, which is,
Mhm.
to get into our overcoming it. But I know now, when I look at somebody and I put them on those pedestals, I am smart enough to know now that I'm doing that I
Yeah.
don't know their entire story, and I don't
Mhm.
know them well enough to know what they think about themselves. I just know what
Mhm.
I think about them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something to think about. I think it gives us the opportunity to extend grace and empathy to people that we wouldn't have otherwise.
Absolutely. And I will say, one of the things that I love and appreciate about Real Women is the work of getting real.
Mhm.
So even though I have struggled with imposter syndrome for a long time, I wasn't always honest about that. And so
Mm.
I had this mask on that I'm good, life is good, I'm great. And I wasn't always willing to allow people to see this side. And so
Mhm.
just the work that I've been doing through Real Women and therapy and just coming into myself and embracing all of me and being okay with that and being okay with sharing that. I think too, some people may present themselves as having it all together and not
Mhm.
allowing people to see, that vulnerability and to see that there is an imposter in there or a belief system in there. So yeah, I think it's just for me, it was just getting real with myself. Like, girl, you don't think that all the time. So
Mhm.
just tell other people because they don't think that either sometimes about themselves. So yeah.
That
Mhm.
is so important to point out, that we all need a space to be able to do that,
Yeah.
because otherwise we are fronting, like, literally.
Mhm. Absolutely.
90s time. We are really fronting. And I just think about how exhausting that is,
It is.
to
Mhm.
to try to appear that everything is okay and it's really not.
Yeah.
Or to, because we live in this age right now where it really isn't the coolest thing in the world to not have positive speak. Like,
Mhm.
I'm supposed to have all the affirmations. I'm
Mhm.
supposed to have all of the self-care together and all of the self-esteem. I am supposed to have all of the I am statements together, the positive ones. And for me to be in a position where I pour into other people,
Mhm.
to be that vulnerable, am I effective at helping others? And
Mhm.
for me, I have gleaned the most from those who have been the most transparent and vulnerable. When I
Yes.
when I
Absolutely.
think about those who have taught me, who have spoken from stages and pulpits, it's nice to be talked to.
Mhm.
It's nice to be, talked at. That's
Mhm.
nice. But when you invite me into your story and you talk
Yeah.
with me, like, you
Mhm.
you really get a feel for where I am, and you have the emotional intelligence enough to tap into that and
Yeah.
be vulnerable about where you are. Now we
Mm-hmm.
can talk. Now you
Oh,
got
that's
me.
good.
Now I want to engage. I want to come to a sister circle again
Mm-hmm.
because y'all are talking my language now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you're not fronting. So I think it's just it's unrealistic for us to think that everybody always walks around, in power speak.
Yeah.
Um, there are tools to help us manage that,
Mm-hmm.
and the maturity comes to engage those tools earlier and more
Mm-hmm.
consistently and more
Yeah.
frequently than you
Mm-hmm.
did before. But that doesn't go away completely, I don't think, for anybody. And if it does, okay,
Yeah.
you got something else.
Right. I was gonna say this may not be their thing, but they have something else. They have another thing.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
yep,
Yeah.
yep,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So let's get into, sister, how do we overcome the imposter syndrome? And I'll start just to share some things that have
Mhm,
worked and are working for me. So one, therapy. I will keep saying this. You will probably get tired of me saying this if you're watching and listening, but that is my jam. Therapy, me going to therapy, not just being a counselor in training, but also doing the work for myself is important to me. And so having a therapist that is observant and points out those things about myself that he observes and that he sees, like I said in our sessions, that is helpful because because it's such a deep rooted belief system. I may not even know that I'm doing it, which I wasn't
mhm,
aware of it. And so one is just being in therapy and having the process modeled, and just being encouraged to embrace the I am statements, like, and identifying who I truly am. So I am amazing, I am intelligent, I am brilliant. So just just being comfortable with saying those things out loud, so
mhm,
even what they say, fake it till you make it, like even if I don't fully believe that or haven't fully embraced that for myself, at least I can say that and speak that over myself and to myself, and until it really starts to sink in, that's who I am. So those two things, therapy and just speaking those I am statements, have really helped me. As well as journaling and just really capturing the thoughts in the moment. Like I said, when I'm in um, after a counseling session, I start to feel the imposter thoughts, but just writing down, like, hey, I acknowledge that this is how you're feeling, but let me tell you the truth about what's happening and what
mhm,
you're doing right now. So those are some of the things that have helped me. What about you?
mhm. So good. I agree with your list. I'm going to give you another kudos between you and um, our sister Nefertiria, as well as because you all introduced it to us. I really believe one of our other facilitators in Real Women, Kia Mason, she really grabbed a hold of it and has
Yes.
utilized it in several sister circles as well. One of the tools that I have in my toolbox now that it's almost automatic now. I recognize that part of me that experiences imposter syndrome is just a piece of who I am.
Yeah.
It's not all of who I am. It is a piece, it is a part of my persona, it is an aspect of who I am. Um, but it is not all of me. So I am okay and cool with talking to her and telling her what the deal is within me because truth be told now, we're talking about imposter syndrome, but I'm gonna be honest with you. There is a prideful little something inside of me too. Now,
Yeah.
I
Uh-huh.
there's a part of me who thinks I'm the ish. Now,
Yeah.
I am going to be honest. Um, and because of that, there's like this checks and balance where, we all in here together. And so
Yes. Yes.
and you can say whatever you want about what that sounds like to you. It is self-management over here. It is me
Absolutely.
knowing myself enough to
Yeah.
know the different aspects of myself. And so I absolutely love that I know myself well enough that when parts of me rise up, I'm able to recognize
Hmm.
that aspect of who I am. and speak lovingly to her, or give her some tough love, or or let's, whatever we need in that moment, go to bed. Like, just don't think about it. Sometimes it's eat a little piece of ice cream, whatever we work that out, but
Yeah.
we're working it out because of a greater level of self-awareness.
Hmm.
So that's one thing. And I will use this time to plug, because we said we would talk about it later, because we have dealt with this topic within Real Women Sister Circles before.
Hmm.
And my management tool that I'm talking about, I also learned in Real Women Sister Circles. And
Yeah.
so it's real. I think it's really helpful to have a community. That's going to be my second tool, to have a community where you can process this type of stuff. Because where do you get to go? You can't go on your job and say, I don't feel like I belong here. You know
Right.
what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, you can't get in the pulpit and be like, I ain't got nothing for y'all today, because
Hmm.
I don't feel like I'm supposed to be up here. I don't feel worthy. And so to have a safe space to process those feelings helps get it out of me, so that
Hmm.
I can be open to make room for what I really want to feel.
Hmm.
So I'll use those two, just having a greater level of self-awareness, and having community where I can process my feelings
Hmm.
and know I'm not by myself, and make room for some more positive, healthy feelings.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. The last thing I'll say, just kind of piggybacking off of what you just said, I love the pieces work, because
Mhm.
that's definitely my jam, and how I self manage, like it really manage my emotions and what's going on with me. And so, with that, what I'll leave with those who are watching and listening, just understanding that if imposter syndrome is a piece of you, know that that is not fully who you are. And like Trenace said, you can, commune with that piece to encourage that piece, or just let them know, other parts of you surface. So that part of you does not have to run the show. It doesn't have to be at your control board and be the one that is in control of your behaviors, your feelings, and your actions. And so I just encourage you, if you are dealing with the imposter syndrome, if that is one piece of you, understand that there is another piece that is able to take over and move you into the direction that you want to go in. So know that you are this and that. Our lovely Sherry gave that gift to us that we will use all
Forever.
the time. Yes, forever. You are this and that. So you can be an imposter and you can be powerful and impactful at the same time. So,
Can I do one more plug on this
uh-huh.
topic?
Yes.
Go see the movie Inside Out.
Yes,
There are
absolutely.
two,
Two.
there's a
Mhm.
sequel now,
Yep.
and the second one is just as powerful. Sometimes the
So good.
sequels aren't good. It's
Yeah.
just as powerful as the first one. You don't have to
Yeah.
have kids. You don't have to go with kids. It
Mm-mm.
is a movie for you, for
Absolutely.
me.
Yes.
Such a good movie. That's what came to mind when you were talking.
Yeah.
So,
That's so funny because I was thinking about that too.
such a
I
good movie.
love that movie. Yes.
Mhm.
All right, y'all. So let us go on to our next segment. We are going to talk about putting myself in her shoes or his shoes. So in this segment, we're going to talk about a trending topic that is, I just, I'm just always amazed at how some things just take off and take legs and take off in a mind of its own. I don't understand how some things just become viral, but here we are. So here's the scenario, sister. In today's social media world, people go viral for the most interesting things.
Ciao.
The latest viral sensation is Jules LeBron. I don't know if it's LeBron,
Mhm.
for her TikTok video about how she gets ready for work in the morning in a demure. That is the catchphrase of this month, I'll say.
Mhm.
Demure way. So it's now a trend, and social media users joke about doing random things in a demure fashion.
Mhm.
So I just want to ask you, sister, putting yourself in Miss Jewel's shoes, who is now
Mhm.
on late night TV. I think she has brand deals. Like, I think she quit her job now. and this is like her full-time job of being a social media influencer. If one of your clips, your social media clips were to go viral, how would you capitalize off of that moment?
Ride that thing till the wheels fall off. I am a demure cereal. I'm making demure tennis shoes. I'm making a demure t-shirts. I'm gonna have a demure podcast. I'm gonna have demure. Listen, I, in this new age of different ways to make money
Yeah.
and to be profitable, whatever works as long as it's not hurting anybody else, go
Yeah.
for it. So more power to her.
Yeah.
Um, and she probably didn't, expect it to blow up the way that it did. But
Mm-mm.
I am happy for her, and I'm glad she's riding it out. I heard
Mhm.
that she was able to get surgeries and just a whole bunch of stuff done that
Uh-huh.
she needed to get done.
Mhm.
So um, I I if something just happened, I really would hope that between talking to my husband, my family, my inner sister circle, that I would strategize some ways to really do it. I mean, trademark as much stuff as I could, get stuff
Mhm.
copyrighted,
Mhm.
do all the things so that I could have my 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes of fame, and
Exactly.
whatever money came along with it. We are here now.
Yeah.
There is no going back when it comes to that. And so not only do we have to be careful and make sure what we don't want to go viral or what we don't want to be seen publicly
Yeah.
isn't we aren't recorded doing something or saying something we don't want. But then if something happens with what we do want, take
Mhm.
advantage of it. That's what I would do.
Yeah. Yeah.
How would you capitalize off of
So
that?
listen, let me tell you, I'm finding a manager. I need somebody to manage me. I need a team to help me come up with creative ideas. I need an attorney to help me
Mhm.
read these documents. Like I'm thinking about ways that I can definitely capitalize off of this moment and figure out how I can make it stretch into something that's long lasting.
Yeah.
Like how can we brand this as something that is needed in the world that people can't do without, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
that's what I would be like. I don't know where you find teams and managers at, but I would find I would have to pull some folks
No,
together
listen,
to
they gonna
help
find
me.
you. They
They
gonna
gonna
find
find
you.
me? Okay. Okay. Because I always wondered about that. I'm like, where people find managers and just people that will just come in and help and do stuff. Like I don't know if there's a
Mhm.
store for that, but you say they'll find me. So maybe
They'll
that's
find you. You just gotta vet them after they find you, because they
exactly
gonna come out
right.
the woodwork. But
Yeah. But
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, listen, if it happened for you, I got you. We gonna go looking for some stuff.
Okay.
If it happened for me, I'm gonna be coming calling you. We gotta
Exactly.
figure this out. So
Right. Exactly. Because I'm gonna need some help for sure. Because I think
Mhm.
there is purpose in those things,
Yeah,
and especially when there are eyes, a whole lot of eyes on you. Yeah, people can be negative, but I think it gives an opportunity to lift up whatever purpose is on a bigger platform. So that's where my focus would go to. Like, how can
yeah,
I impact more people, reach more people,
yeah.
in a successful way? So yeah.
And can I just say really quickly,
Mhm.
there is so much negativity in the world. There's
It
just
is.
so much heavy,
Mm,
depressing. And I think I mentioned on one of these episodes that I started this episode by saying, I really do want to dig deeper to be of greater service, of deeper
mhm,
service in the
mhm.
world.
Yeah,
And so I am, on some level tapped into working through how do you want to use me on a greater level with
yeah,
things that really matter in the world.
yeah.
That is just as true on this side as
Mhm.
is laugh, joke,
Yeah,
have
yeah,
some fun,
yeah.
find something that makes you giggle and just
Mhm.
giggle, like laugh from
Yeah,
your belly or
yeah,
your head smiling like, what in
Uh-huh.
the world? So I'm like, you know what? Thank you for making us be silly and smile about this little
Yes.
silly thing. I
Right.
appreciate it, Jules. I appreciate it.
Yes, yes, I love it because it's just so fun. Like you said, it's just so fun, something to laugh about and joke about. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's great. All
Yep.
right, y'all. So if you have an answer to this question of what you would do with your social media viral moment, we would love to hear from you. So share with us at speakpipe.com/real women real talk, or you can email us at info@realwomenrock.org.
Mhm.
All right, sisters. So we are at the end of our show. But before we leave today, we have to leave the folks with the spiritual nugget. So,
Mhm.
what is something inspiring, uplifting that you would want to leave with the people today?
Yeah. So, um, 5 words, I guess.
Okay.
You are more than enough.
Yes.
You are more than enough. I am more than enough. And my first thought was I am enough. And I know that I'm enough. And enough means all that is needed, I am.
Mhm.
But I think a part of what pushes us into the innate thinking, the automatic thinking of imposter syndrome is that we just, we got to inch up to what the capacity is or what the standard or what the line is.
Yeah.
And if we could just break that box and
Mm.
just know that we are uncontainable.
Mm.
um, One of my favorite words now is it's on my affirmations. I do have I am statements, and
Mhm.
one of them is I am an antinomy. Antinomy.
Mm.
Antinomy means that I am a contradiction. I am a walking, talking contradiction. I am this and that.
And
I
that.
am all of those things. So you cannot put me in a box. I
Wow.
am uncontainable. I am more than enough. I am
Mhm.
not just this. I am all of that.
Yeah.
And reminding whatever we need to do to remind ourselves that we are more than enough. Do
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
Do that. You are more than enough.
I ain't adding nothing else to that. I just want y'all to just sit with that because
Mhm.
that is powerful. And I think
Mhm.
just it just hit me. I am more than enough. Like that
Mhm.
really resonated with me. So thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you for
Mhm.
that. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. So y'all, listen, we are real women rock. And this is what we do. So if you have been intrigued by this conversation, don't just stop here. Come see
Mhm.
about us. Get to know us a little bit more. See what we're about. So visit us at realwomenrock.org. We have sister circles monthly, both in person and virtual. We also have an amazing intensive coming up in November. And we would love to see you there. It is a weekend experience where you get to do more of this, or on a deeper level. You get to connect with other women. You get to relax and just spend some time away. From November 22nd through the 24th is our Real Women Intensive. And we are just going to have a great time. It's in Cambridge, Maryland at a resort and spa uh,
Mhm.
hotel. And so we would love for you to join us. So visit our website, realwomenrock.org/intensive for more information about this amazing event that we have coming up. So we
Mhm.
are just so excited. So, like I said, visit us and hear more about us, see how you can stay connected with us. And yeah, until next time, bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.